Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Umong, and this video is the second part of our tutorial on how to draft the pattern for a 6-piece blouse. If at this point you're not subscribed to this channel, please ensure that you pause right now and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the free videos that I upload. Okay, so first off, this is the back. We have drafted the pattern for the front in the first part of this tutorial, and so I'm going ahead to draw out all of my vertical lines, which is my shoulder to bust point, my shoulder to under bust. This is my shoulder to my natural waistline that you can see me marking right now, which is 19 inches. And then the length of my blouse was 25 inches at the front. However, because there was a side dart in front, and that side that the width of that side that was 1/4 inches, I am going to be subtracting 1/4 from that 25, and so for this back pattern we're going to be using 23 3/4 inches for the length. First off, if you don't understand all of this quarter, 3/4 and all of that, I have a video on how to read tape measures. I'm going to put the link in the description box. So essentially the length of this blouse is 23 3/4 inches. Okay, so this is my bust point line. I had drawn my under bust and then natural waist line. So can you see that's 12 1/8 inches. So this is my bust point line. And then the next thing now is to go ahead and impute or draw out my armhole box. So shoulder width is 16 inches, divided by 2 is 8 inches. That's what you saw me marking. And then now the depth of my armhole is 9 inches. So that's what you can see me marking. I see that a lot of people wait till they finish joining before they cut out their armhole. All of those things just make your work inaccurate sometimes. This one is a more accurate method. If you are drafting pattern, then draft everything out. So this is the armhole box. And then next thing now is to draw out my shoulder slant, which is 3/4 inches, and then I'm going to join that, then use a diagonal line to connect that to the top right edge of my pattern paper. And so next thing now, you're going to see me drawing out my bust span line, which is bust span is your bust point to bust point. So bust point to bust point is 9 inches divided by 2. That's the 4.5 you saw me marking. So I drew that to the end of the blouse, from the bust point to the end of the blouse. Do you understand? And then now you're going to see me marking that same 4.5 inches that I used for the front at the back. If you want to know how I arrived at that, please watch the part 1 of this video. So this is just the neckline. You can use whatever neckline that you decide to use. However, if you're trying to replicate this Yemi Alade style, your front neck depth should be about maybe 2.5 by 2.5 inches, or if you're a big sized person, you can use 3 by 3 inches. And then for your back, it should be 3 by, if you use 3 for the neck width in front, then your neck depth for the back should be like 1 inch or maybe 3/4 inches. Do you understand? So this is me marking out my dart. Can you see that? So right now I've made it I've angled the camera properly so you can see the full pattern. So I marked 1/2 inch on my natural waistline, and that's what I'm connecting to my bust point line, and that's what you saw me connecting to the length of my blouse, the end of my blouse. That's the hem of the blouse. So this is the bust point line. I'm connecting that 1/2 inch that I marked on the natural waistline to the hem of the blouse, and then I'm just tracing that out so that there will be no bulge at that point. Can you see? So I'm just trying to straighten it out so that there will be no bulge or curve at that point. So next thing now is to mark out my circumference measurement, and then remember my side seam allowance is 1.5 inches. So I'm marking out my under bust circumference, excluding the dart, or the same thing we did in the front. So you do the same thing at the back, exclude the dots while measuring, and then I'm going to measure down to the same 2 inches I used for the front. So measure down from the underbust 2 inches. That's where your flare will start from. Do you understand? So I have measured the length. So the same way that I did that flare in front, I used the same method to do to get the flare for the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect that to my side seam line. Do you understand? So I've created my arm side at that point. So again, just to reconfirm my measurement, I measured what I had left from my natural waistline to the hem of my blouse line, and it was about 6 inches. And I measured the flare, and it was longer than that. So you can see me shortening. It was longer by 1/8 inches or so. So that's what she saw me. So I'm gonna have to cut out all of my pattern pieces, and so this is what it actually looks like. Can you see that? So also remember that I have, this is my side dart. This is side dart that I was talking about for the front, and I went ahead to cut it out and then use paper tape to join the pieces back again. Do you understand? So this is what it looks like. The side has the flare. So right now what we're going to do is create the flare for the inner panels. Remember that on the side seam we only included the flare on the side seam. So now I'm going to show you how to include the flare on this center front pattern, and then the other parts that do not have the flare. Okay, so I have placed the pattern on a fresh pattern paper. So I'm just using my paper tape to gum it to the fresh pattern paper. So remember that our flare starts from 2 inches below the under bust line. So this is the bust point line, and then this is bust point line, and then this is the under bust line. So I'm going to measure 2 inches down from the under bust line, and that's where the flare is going to start from. Can you see that, guys? Pretty easy. So if you didn't get what I did for the side, you can still use the same concept. Do you understand? If you do not understand that one, you can use the same concept to create the flare for your side. So I adjusted my camera so that you can see clearly. And so this is 7¾ inches. Can you see? I measured that to the hem of my blouse. So I'm going to angle it again from that point. Add about, so when you're angling, you can add about 1/4 inch or something. So it was 8 inches that you saw me marking. So I'm using a diagonal line to connect that back to that our 2 inches, and then I'll just curve it so that it's not like I have a sharp whatever at that point. Do you understand? So this is my paper tape that I'm just going to gum my pattern in place just before I cut. So can you see that I'm cutting out the flare? So you can see that I've created the flare that is necessary. So this is what it looks like with the flare. Can you see that, guys? So this is what it looks like with the flare. Can you see that, guys? So we're going to go ahead and do the same for this side panel. Remember that for this side panel we only put on the side seam. We do not include on at that this middle point. Can you see that? So I'm going to go ahead and include the flare on that side. So same thing, I'm going to measure 2 inches down from the under bust. Can you remember that we lifted our under bust point? So you can see that I measured from that new point. So now what I have is 8¼ inches. So I'm going to add I'm going to measure what I have here and measure what I have there. If it is not the same, because of the fact that we raised that under bust line, I'm going to go ahead and shorten it because we're going to be joining both panels, so it has to be the same thing. So from my under bust to that point is about 10 inches, sorry, 9¾ inches. So what I have here is about 10 inches. So you can see me shortening it. You always have to measure what you have left so that there's no disparity or excesses. So let everything be done on the during the pattern drafting process, so that when you are cutting, it's just completely accurate. So I'm going to crop that off first before I create the flare for this side. So I'm just going to go ahead and create the flare for that point. So same thing, measure my 2 inches downwards. Note where I'm measuring from, guys. It's the new under bust line I'm measuring from. So I'll measure now, and I have the same 7 3/4 inches that I had on that first panel. So I'm going to angle again. It's about 8 inches. Can you see that, guys? Mark that point and then use a diagonal line to connect both points. So it is this simple. It's pretty easy, guys. And then this is really accurate. So you can see me reconnecting it back to that 2 inches after the underbust point. So I have reconnected it back, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use my paper tape to hold my pattern in place before cutting that out. If at this point you're not subscribed to this channel, please ensure that you pause right now and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on free videos like this, guys. And then also, if you want to find out more about our online classes, please send a message to the numbers going across the screen, and I'll forward the course outline and price list and everything to you, so that you can decide on which of the courses you want to settle for and whatever you want to do, guys. So this is what it actually looks like. So this is what it looks like with the flare. So this is the flare for both front panels. So when you're cutting, include about 3/8 inches allowance at the hem, and then at the in every other place aside from the side seam, and then also 3/8 inches there, and then the top. That's the center front. However, because it's a 6-piece blouse that has a zip in front, this center front side is going to have allowance for zip. Do you understand? So that's basically what that is all about. We're going to be doing the same thing for the back. Measure 2 inches down from the underbust. Measure what you have left, which is 6 3/4 inches. Add a 1/4 of an inch to that, making it 7 inches, and then angle it to 7 inches. Same thing, same way we did the front. So that's what you can see me connecting at that point. So that's the flare for the back, and this is the side panel for the back, by the way. And then I'm using my paper tape to pin everything in place, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut. Remember that on this other side here, we have already included the flare, so we don't need to do that again. So this is basically what it looks like. So can you see how it looks, guys? Just clean and smooth, so that when you're cutting, all you need to do is just include allowance. And if it's a private pattern, you can just recut on pattern paper, include your allowance, so that you know that you have a pattern for your own 6-piece blouse. Do you understand? With allowance, whenever you want to make a 6-piece blouse for yourself, you don't need to start including allowance. Just place your pattern paper on your fabric and then cut directly. So same thing that we're going to be doing on this side. Angle it to 7 inches. It was 6 3/4 inches. Angle it, add a 1/4 of an inch, and then making it 7 inches, and then angle it to 7 inches. And so use your paper tape to hold that in place. Also note that when you're cutting this one, on the center back to include allowance for joining, because even though there's no zip at the back, I always still prefer not to cut it on fold. Do you understand? Still cut it with allowance, so that in case you're a plus size person and you need to impute a dart at the back area, you would be able to do that. So this is basically what our pattern looks like, clean and smooth. If at this point you are not subscribed to this channel, please ensure that you hit the subscribe button right now before this video ends. So this is what everything looks like, guys. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Ciao, and have a blessed week ahead. Okay.